Welcome back to The Explainer. So, today we're diving into a piece of writing called The Wisdom of Release and the Courage of Space. And honestly, this one completely flips our standard idea of resilience totally on its head. I mean, we've basically been taught our whole lives to just hold on, right? To push through, to never ever surrender. But today, we're going to look at the exact opposite of that. We're going to explore the profound wisdom of release. And more specifically, we'll see why the simple act of letting something go actually requires this staggering, immense amount of courage. Actually, let's just bypass the usual intro stuff and jump straight into the emotional core here. Why does releasing what hurts feel like losing a part of ourselves? Because we've all been there, haven't we? We hold on to things that actively cause us pain, things that clearly just don't serve us anymore. But why? Why does setting down a really heavy burden feel less like relief and more like, I don't know, an amputation? Well, the source we're looking at today gives us a really brilliant framework to figure out exactly what's going on in our heads when we're stuck in this dilemma. Okay, let's dive into this. The material actually breaks this whole journey down into a few distinct phases, kicking things off with phase 1, discernment instead of defeat. So, society generally lumps giving up and letting go into the exact same bucket, but they are fundamentally totally different things. Giving up, that's an act of defeat. It's literally just the exhaustion of your willpower. Letting go, on the other hand, is completely different. It's an act of discernment. It is the conscious, active wisdom to realize when holding on has actually become way more harmful to you than the loss itself. So it's absolutely not a weakness, it's a strategic retreat. But if letting go is just this strategic, wise choice, why is it so incredibly hard to actually pull off? Well, that brings us right to phase 2, the gravity of the familiar. Just take a second and think about the sheer weight of the burdens we actively choose to carry around every single day. We cling to these outdated beliefs about who we're supposed to be. We hold on to relationships that have totally, completely run their course. We nurse these grudges that frankly poison us way more than they protect us. And we stagger around under expectations that honestly were never even ours to begin with. And we hold on to all this stuff tightly, not because it helps us, but because letting it go feels like we're losing a defining piece of our very identity. And here's the really brutal truth of the whole thing. Familiarity, no matter how painful it might be, offers a kind of security that the great unknown just doesn't. Think about a grudge you've been nursing for, say, 5 years. In a weird, perverse kind of way, that grudge just become your companion. It's like this terrible houseplant you just refuse to let die. Or that outdated dream you can't quite shake. It's become a marker of who you are. The familiar is a known quantity, and our brains absolutely love known quantities. And this right here is exactly why letting go requires so much courage. It's a daily, sustained act of bravery to wake up and fight that gravitational pull of the familiar. That little voice whispering that maybe you should just hold on for one more day. Which naturally brings us to phase 3, identity in motion. The fatal flaw in holding on to all our old baggage is this false assumption that our identity is just static. But the thing is, genuine growth absolutely demands that we periodically stop, look at the literal baggage we're lugging around, and ask ourselves this really uncomfortable question. Does this still serve the life I'm building right now? And answering no to that can feel terrible. It can falsely feel like a betrayal. Like by outgrowing old ambitions or outgrowing certain people, we're somehow dishonoring the past version of ourselves who really needed them. But that feeling of betrayal, it's a total illusion. And this brilliantly illustrates the point. The caterpillar does not betray itself by becoming a butterfly. It fulfills itself. Honoring your past self doesn't mean staying frozen in their old choices forever. Honoring them simply means trusting that they did the absolute best they could with the information they had back then, while giving your present self the complete and total freedom to evolve. All right, now we hit phase 4, navigating imperfect endings. And this deals with the messy reality of what actually happens when we make that brave choice to release our grip. We've all got this myth stuck in our heads, right? This sort of Hollywood movie expectation where every single storyline requires perfect, neat closure. But just look at how real life completely defies that narrative impulse. Friendships frequently just dissolve without any dramatic final conversation. Careers don't always end with some massive blowout. Sometimes it's literally just a slow, quiet fading of enthusiasm. Love stops simply because people grow in different directions. We think we're demanding closure, but what we're really demanding is meaning. We want the ending to neatly wrap up and explain the whole story, but life very rarely hands us those definitive, tidy conclusions. And this is exactly where the wisdom of the Stoic philosopher Epictetus becomes so vital.
He points out that our suffering isn't actually coming from the imperfect ending itself, it's coming from our rigid attachment to how we firmly believe that ending was supposed to play out. Releasing our insistence on some specific, perfect script doesn't mean we're losing control. It actually means we're gaining flexibility. We finally become capable of responding to reality as it actually is, rather than just mourning the script we wrote in our own heads.
And that brings us right to the final stage of our explainer today. Phase 5, the paradox of space. See, when you let go of something massive in your life, the immediate result is space. And space is terrifying. We are just not used to emptiness. But you have to realize, this space is not an empty void. It is the blank page right before the next chapter begins. It is that crucial pause between musical phrases that actually gives the melody its entire shape. It is the fallow field, resting and gathering its strength for the next season of growth. So this scary emptiness, it's actually a canvas of pure possibility. But because this new space is so uncomfortable, our immediate knee-jerk reaction is to frantically rush to fill the silence. We want to replace the old commitment instantly with a new one before the dust has even settled. But wisdom asks for patience. Honestly, the absolute bravest thing you can do after letting something go is to just sit in that discomfort. Just dwell in the openness. Give yourself the actual time required to discover what genuinely belongs in that space, rather than just cramming it full with the very first distraction that wanders by. To wrap up our explainer today, I want to leave you with a really striking maxim from Itachi Uchiha, of all places. People's lives don't end when they die. It ends when they lose faith. Letting go is ultimately a profound act of faith. It takes incredible courage to just step into the unknown like that. So here's a final thought to carry with you this week. Are you holding on because it actually serves you, or are you just afraid of the space? Have the courage to let go, not to lose yourself, but to discover what truly remains when all that unnecessary weight finally falls away.